You're listening to the Mind Your Business podcast, episode number 14, 5 Steps to Manifesting More Money. Hi, I'm James Wedmore, and I've built a 7-figure internet business that offers the financial freedom to do what I want, when I want. And I'm the first to say that hard work and hustle are not essential ingredients for your success. So, how do you build a thriving business from the inside out? This is the Mind Your Business podcast, featuring myself and co-host Phoebe Mroczek.
In today's episode, we're interviewing Denise Duffield-Thomas, the author of Get Rich, Lucky Bitch, and someone I very much admire. Denise Duffield-Thomas is the money mindset mentor for online female entrepreneurs. She has 2 best-selling books, Lucky Bitch and Get Rich, Lucky Bitch. And in this episode, we talk all about manifesting money, the craziest things that she's ever manifested in her business, and the 5 steps to manifesting more money in your life.
So before we jump into the interview with Denise, we wanted to take a quick moment of your time and do a quick debrief. I think debriefs are extremely valuable to extract the lessons and the value and kind of point you in the right direction of what to listen to. So this was our first ever interview on the Mind Your Business podcast. How do you think it went, Phoebe?
Well, it was certainly our best one yet.
It definitely was. It's number 1 in my book. So we talked about money and manifesting, a topic that we've started to bring up on our podcast. And Denise is definitely an expert in this field. She's spent years of her life coaching and teaching specifically women on how they can increase abundance in their life. And even in business, where this translates is to raising your prices and selling more of what you offer. And I do want to make sure that you guys know before we go into this, and I asked her on the interview, it's not just for the ladies. So men, this is not a female only episode. This all pertains to us as well. So Phoebe, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think was your biggest takeaway or aha from this interview?
Personally, I like 5-step manifesting process that she goes through because like Denise, I like to have clear-cut steps. And so when she, rather than just saying, write this down on a piece of paper and just hope and wish on it. And, she actually breaks it down into the 5 steps. So those were great little tidbits and tips for me.
And I think another thing that's important with that is that there's a lot of work that has to be done before you just do the 5 steps. That's why like movies like The Secret, it's great because it really popularized some of these ideas and concepts. But people are like, I tried it. It doesn't work. I closed my eyes. I thought of the red Ferrari. It's not on my driveway. This stuff doesn't work. And what Denise really proposes is that there is a lot of stuff in the way that we don't know is in the way because we live with ourselves every day. It's kind of like having mustard on your face and not really knowing it's there until you take a really good hard look at yourself in the mirror and be like, oh my gosh, why didn't anyone tell me I had broccoli in my teeth and mustard on my face? And we have to do that in our lives physically and energetically and spiritually. And a lot of it, what she comes up with is stuff that has been with us our entire life, stuff that started when we were kids, stuff that we got from our parents, from experiences we had growing up, and the stories we tell ourselves that are limiting ourselves. But the crazy part is, and I really want you guys to get this before we get into the episode, that we don't believe that they're stories. We believe that they are real, that they are facts. And that's where we can get really tripped up. So you can close your eyes and wish and manifest all you want. You can request from the universe that you want more money. But if you believe money is evil, if you believe that you're not worthy of money, good luck. That is an uphill battle. And so I love that Denise really starts by like, before we can fill the space with more of what we want, we have to be able to clear it first.
Well, and I think when you're saying that it takes a certain person to like really get into it, and I know that we talked about that in our interview with her, is you have to be really prepared for the good, bad, the ugly. And a lot of ugly comes out of this process. And just to be really patient with yourself, because a lot of times you don't realize, the mustard on your face. You don't know that you're actually going through that until you start to, how many people are going to say, oh, I have a fear of money, or, something is really blocking me from taking my income to the next level in business. You don't know that that's a problem until you start asking the right questions.
Yes.
And so
I think she'll give us some of those right questions
definitely
in the episode. And lastly, what I want to state is that that, another thing is that you'll discover on the episode that Denise is the real deal. She's been in business for several years. I met her several years ago. And not only is she a successful author, but she's a super financially successful business owner. So she's someone we wanted to bring on that practices what she preaches and has the results to back it all up. So without further ado, here's our interview with Denise Duffield-Thomas. Well, hello, Denise. Thank you so much and welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Well, I'm just thrilled to be here. I love and admire both of you, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're honored to have you. So listen, I have in my hand, I'm holding your book, Get Rich.
In your hand, in your actual hand.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here to tell you, he actually has it in his hand.
It's all wrinkled. It's got the dog ears on all the pages and notes and highlights. It's called Get Rich, Lucky Bitch. And the first question I have for you, obviously, is do I have to be a woman to learn this?
No, but I did write it for women. And the only reason why is because if you try and write something for everybody, it sometimes loses its message. And I knew that women mostly needed to hear this. Mm-hmm. But then I get messages all the time from guys going, I really liked it. Can you write like, get rich, lucky bastard, get rich, lucky dick? And I'm just like, no, you can read that one. That's all good.
Okay, good. So I did want to make sure. I know we have a male audience as well.
Well, I was kind of hoping that it was going to be only for women and we were going to have to kick you out. And it was just going to be me and Denise here talking.
That would be dangerous. That would be dangerous. Well, listen, we have so many questions that we've prepared for you on the topic of money, manifesting, understanding what this concept of money blocks are, and obviously how to release them or get rid of them. But I want to kind of start and ask you a personal question. Hopefully it's not too personal, but I know you've been doing this for a long time. I think we met back in, I would say it was like 2011, 2012. And so I know you've been doing this a long time, but one of the things that you mentioned early on in the book is the concept of layers, and that there are layers to these blocks and the issues that we work through. It's not necessarily like you uncover and solve some of these problems and you're like, live happily ever after. Yeah. So I would love to know, with where we are in recording this, it's 2016. Where are you at right now in your journey? You shared a lot of what you've been able to create and do some magical stuff in your life, but where are you at right now? Like, what are the things that are just outside of your comfort zone? What do you maybe struggle with or find a fun challenge with when it comes to money at this point?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think some people think that money fixes money blocks. And it doesn't. And that's the whole problem, is that we think, I wish we could win the lottery, or I wish someone would just give us money, because then all my money blocks, all my holes would be filled, basically. And it's really not true, because what I found is that most of us have one or two money blocks that are kind of our constant journey throughout our life. And mine was that you have to work hard to make money. So that manifested for me at university, where I had 4 jobs, and I just worked my butt off. It manifested for me in my 20s, where I just went from job to job that I hated, but I felt like, well, what else is there? Everyone hates their job. Like, you have to work hard to make money. It manifested for itself in my business when I would get up at 4:30 in the morning to work with a client in another country, because I was like, well, you have to say yes to them. Like, you have to work hard to make money. It manifested when I wrote my book and I put it out, and I was like, why are people paying me for something that I wrote last year? Like, that doesn't fit with my world concept of you have to work hard to make money. Wow. Mm-hmm. It hit me when I created my program course, and it was like the second time I ran it, and I was like, but I've already written the sales page. Like, what's my job this time? How do I earn this money? It's hit me at every stage of my business, and I'll tell you how it's hitting me now. So we bought a big house last year, and we decided that we didn't want to renovate this house. We want to buy a new house. And so I was like, well, who am I to live in a big house? Like, I didn't earn this money, I earn a lot of money now, and it's like there's still times where I just go, well, I didn't work hard for this. Like, my mum works hard for her money. I don't work hard for my money. So do you see how it's the same block, but it manifests in different ways over time?
Yes, but do you feel like you've at least made progress on it?
Yes, well, you freaking hope so. Yeah. But yes, the difference now is that things don't derail me. I recognize the behavior before I go into full-on sabotaging mode, because back in the day, I would go, oh, well, maybe I'll just change businesses. Maybe that's the answer, and work really hard at another one. So now I just go, well, I know that's stupid, and that's okay. I've got tools to deal with it. It doesn't stop me from feeling it. I remember a couple of years ago, I had a really great launch. And for the next 6 weeks, I sat on my couch and I played Candy Crush because I was just like, I didn't earn that money. I felt so guilty about it, and I felt so blocked about it. Now I might go and play Candy Crush for like 5 minutes and then get over it.
I love it.
That's the difference. It's quicker to get out of it when you've got the tools. It doesn't mean you're immune to it.
Well, I'm so happy just to find out that that's the story that you've had of you have to work hard to make money. I think that's a very common one. I definitely know that's something that I have dealt with and still deal with. Like, I think I really would be in denial if I said there isn't a residual or residue to that plays out every day.
I think it's the most common one for entrepreneurs. It's why people refuse to delegate. It's why we stay up all night. It's why we procrastinate and then have to stay up all night. But you know what, James, you really said something to me a couple of years ago that resonated so much. And you said, Denise, you can't get to 6 figures without outsourcing.
Yeah.
And I just thought, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to try it.
I can't believe you remember that. That was like January of like 2012. That was a long time ago.
Yes. But I desperately wanted to get to 6 figures. Like, I was like,
yeah.
Tell me the secret, everybody. You know, I was just asking, tell me the secret of how I can do this. You said that to me very clearly, and I was like, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm just going to work harder.
How was that working for you?
It didn't. Yeah. I had to work hard for that money.
Yeah.
You know, I did. So thank you for that, James.
Yeah. And, you know, something I've learned on this journey of like living from a context that you have to work hard to make money is that hard-earned money is harder to let go of.
Yeah.
And that's where I used to struggle a lot with was paying for bills and paying for things like outsourcers and employees and stuff. Cause you're like, I worked so hard for that. It's so hard to let it go. And so I really think shifting that work hard to make money mindset can solve a lot of this. So when you talk about the concept of money blocks, is that what a money block is? Is that belief, or is there something that's causing that? Can you explain that more?
Yeah, sure. So I just want to tell a funny story first about money blocks because I remember being at Awesomeness Fest about 2 years ago and I was chatting to Neil Patel. I asked him a question from the audience and I said, I'm Denise. I help people with money blocks. And he goes, what are money blocks? And I was like, oh, wow. So like most people kind of get it, you know, because I said, oh, you know, I help people deal with their fears of money. And he goes, well, why would people be afraid of earning money? That sounds really stupid. And I thought, wow, some people don't really have money blocks. Like it's really simple. It's like I create something, you buy it, you give me money, I give you the thing, we both walk away happy. It's like, that's cool, right? And I realized, oh, wow, some people don't have them, but most people do. And I think it could manifest in lots of ways: procrastination, feeling scared about money, feeling guilty about money, all this kind of stuff. But the block itself is usually like it's a symptom of something else. And usually it's a story or it's an experience that you've had. So let's take the work hard to make money because it's just such a common one. Mm-hmm. That might have been ingrained in you in a really young age. And this is the interesting thing. No matter how much money your family had, there's honestly no correlation here between money blocks and how much money you actually had as a kid. Because I thought as a kid, because I grew up with not much money, I was like, well, if you had money, like your life would be great. Like what have you got to worry about with money? But it's universal. So you might have seen your parents be really hardworking, as in, you know, blue collar workers. My mum worked in nursing homes as a cleaner, and she still does, you know, work in hospitals. You know, so I was like, oh, you have to physically go out and work really long hours with your hands. So if then suddenly you're an adult and you're making money from like talking to people on Skype, like that's not only weird, it's kind of a bit inappropriate.
Yeah.
You feel it deep down in your gut. You might not even be aware of it. So that's one side of the spectrum. But then you might have just seen your parents, you know, maybe you're just middle class, but they both worked really hard for what they had. And they took great pride in the fact that, hey, you want something, you go out and work for it. You know, so that might have been drummed into you as well. You might have been wealthy and had ultra workaholic parents, and you saw that maybe your dad or your mum worked 100 hours a week, and that's their level of achievement. If you're not working 100 hours, if you're not billing, you know, and all those things just get so ingrained and you don't even realize you're living them as a story until you start working for yourself. And there's this weird thing like, why do I feel, what's happening here when you want to launch your book or your program or your course? Because it's like, this kind of feels wrong. It goes against my very grain of what I believe deep down. Right. So it all comes down to, like everything, it all comes down to our stories and our parents. Let's blame them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is like, is most of this is, you know, and I understand our parents did the best they could with what they had, but do we pick up a lot of these money blocks from just observing our parents and absorbing what it was that they taught us and the, you know, the lessons they gave us?
It is definitely, you know, that experience, but we put our own filters on it and we created our own stories around it. So very often you'll have people who grew up in the exact same family and one has decided something very particular about that experience and one has decided something completely different. You know, some people go, I don't want that for my family. I want something different. And some people unconsciously repeat the same thing. So it's a combination of what happened to us, but also what we made it mean, and that's us, you know, and we can untangle that ourselves because you can't change the past. You can only change what you believe and what you created around it.
I totally get that. Now, do you have a process, an exercise, or a suggestion on how we actually start to identify these money blocks? Because I feel like the average person who's just being introduced to this, they're like, well, here's how much I got in the bank account. So I must have a block, but I don't know what it is. Is there a way you have to identify what it is?
Well, a really valuable exercise is to make a list of everything you remember about money as a kid, from school, from adults, even from the world of work, because sometimes you can dig deeper into those, but they're more memorable for you. And look for patterns. You know, like what are some common denominators here? What are some mantras that you remember hearing as a kid? And one that I remember is our family used to say, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. And that I didn't even realize that was so ingrained in me because it was just a family mantra, right? So you look at all those things and you go, well, that's interesting. What do you think I decided out of that? Or how do you think that relates to how I am now in my business or in my work? It can be a really fun exercise. I know it sounds like, oh, that sounds horrible. You know, it's really great. It's not just by accident that you feel blocked about writing your book or whatever. There's something behind that. And if you can unravel a story, it's incredibly powerful and it really sets you free to choose something else as an adult.
So what you would do is just, if I'm understanding this correctly, you just sit down and make a list of all the things that you have been told about money, you've experienced with money, anything. And so I'm assuming your first list is going to be extremely long. And as you go along, obviously I'm in the Lucky Bitch boot camp, so I am kind of cheating and I think I know this, but the more you go and the more often you do this, the shorter the list gets. Is that true?
That's right. Yeah. You know, often when people do it the first time, it's going to be pages and pages and pages. And it does. And I think the fun thing about being in the boot camp as well is you get people who've been in there for years and they go, oh my God, I just remembered something else. It's a different layer. And that's exactly what you mentioned at the top, James. It's like, oh, I recognize a different experience from that now, or there's something new that I've uncovered. So yeah, I think it's a really valuable exercise to do because it really will uncover some interesting things for you.
So this is incredible, by the way. And, you know, you mentioned this in your book, and you also talk about how the law of attraction is a big law or principle that governs the manifesting of more money. And we talked about it in a previous episode on the podcast, and our audience absolutely loved it. So what I want to ask here is, like, does all this work with the law of attraction kind of get thwarted when these blocks are in the way? Like, does that pretty much mean that that's what step one is? Like, no matter what you do to visualize and create vision boards, like if you have these blocks, you know, it's like all futile to...
I think so. Yeah. It's like building a strong foundation on a really crappy, you know, like, oh, I'll just ignore all that crap. Like, let's just keep on burying it and then just build a big tower on top of it. Yeah. It's like, no, it doesn't work. So step one for me in my manifesting stuff is always declutter. And you declutter from every angle you can think of, physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, anything you can think of. And when people come to me and they say, oh, like, I'm trying to manifest this thing and it doesn't work. And it's like, well, cool, tell me what you do. And they're like, oh, I've lit an abundance candle and I'm saying my mantras every day. And you go, yeah, let's go deeper than that first.
This is what we call putting whipped cream on garbage.
Right.
Totally. Or polishing a turd.
Yes.
Or rolling it in glitter. Keep on putting more glitter on it. Turd underneath.
It's still a turd, yes. I love that. Now, you brought up decluttering, and this is something that, again, this was in your book, but Jilly, who is our project manager, works for us, had a great question as she was reading through this. She says, what is the first step to decluttering your life? Like, we've seen a lot of magic just in decluttering, whether it's physical or spiritual, as you mentioned. What is like that first step to that? Like, where would you start or recommend someone starting there?
Path of least resistance. So often people think there is one perfect way to anything and they get really caught up in it. They're like, oh, I just don't know if I want to go and have a look at my memories yet. And it's like, great, go clean your room. Go chuck out some stuff. and then go revisit that for, from an energetic place. So I really think it is the path of least resistance and whatever feels good to you right now. I love going back to the memories one because that's where a lot of things start. But if you're not ready to face that, that's cool. Maybe just look at one memory or go and throw out some stuff. And the action of decluttering creates momentum, and you start to look around, what else doesn't serve me here? And that's really the purpose of decluttering, is like, let's get rid of everything that doesn't serve me right now, which is why I love the KonMari movement that's sweeping the globe, because it's really opening up this conversation of, does it spark joy? And, do your memories spark joy? Well, what do you want to get rid of? Do your beliefs serve you? What do you want to get rid of? So that's the hard and the easy answer.
Is that the book, The Art of Tidying Up? Or whatever?
Yeah, The Magical Art of Tidying Up,
there
I think. Yeah, by Marie Kondo. It's great, and
I hate that book, Denise. I hate it. You
hate it? Why?
My fiance gets the book right before we're moving in together, and she decides that everything from my place has to go. And she threw out everything I have. And now we're living together and it's like, oh, we don't have this. Yeah, you threw it out. And we found ourselves, she got really excited about it.
But then again, we're sitting in the most beautiful office here because she read the book and now she's tidied up the whole place. It looks amazing. I know. So
I think it's great. I just think, we got a little trigger happy on throwing stuff away too prematurely, but no, it's great. And I am a big fan of that. We actually had our office feng shuied as well. There's links and connections to the energy of money flowing through that and stuff, which we'll talk about in another episode.
Yeah. No, I believe in that stuff too. When I was selling a house that wasn't selling, I was like, what can I do? Who can I get to help me declutter this? And I found someone who's a feng shui expert, but she also does distance cord cutting on this house. And oh my God, there's a whole story behind that. I had to cut cords, not with that house, but a house that I lived in when I was 15.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's I go at it from all angles. My philosophy is throw everything at it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And her philosophy is throw everything out, Marie Kondo. But it's throw everything. Everything's going to work because you're looking in that decluttering stage. You're looking for pattern interrupters. You're looking for patterns and you're looking for awareness in the future. And that's even why the physical decluttering, when someone goes, oh, it hurts to throw this out. And it's no, it's going to hurt next time you're going to buy something that doesn't give you joy. That's when it has to hurt. So all of those exercises in the decluttering thing, no matter which angle you come at it from, it's all designed to break patterns. That's it.
I mean, this is so great, but it's simple, but it seems really challenging for the average person because this is doing the real work. This is getting in there and, being able to take a really hard look at your life and where you're at and what you've been doing and why. And I know I still find myself challenging. I think as humans, we kind of just go on autopilot sometimes and not really do that. So yeah,
you're right.
What do you say to someone who's kind of they don't really have, I would say that the work you've been doing and how you got to where you are took an incredible amount of self-awareness, and I think not everyone has. So what do you say to someone who hasn't really done any of this work before?
Well, there's some really good stuff on the other side. That's something and it doesn't mean you're out of it forever. You're going to have to deal with it for the rest of your life. But a lot of people, when they do that, even just the money memories exercise, they come back in the boot camp and they go, oh, I am sick. I'm hungover. I just got a parking fine. What's going on? And it's well, it's if you, change your skincare regime, you're going to crap is going to rise to the surface. And sometimes it feels really crappy, but it's better out than in. It's definitely better out than in. And on the other side of it, you're going to feel so much better. And I remember someone just going, oh, I'm sick of digging. And I'm well, hand in your shovel. I'm telling you, this is the work that's going to help. You can continue to make it hard forever, and it might be scary, but it's never as scary as you think to look at that stuff. Yeah. And, and even people who are skeptical, I love skeptics in this space because even with manifesting, right? And I love the manifesting skeptics. And you go, you know what, just change the language. Don't think of it as manifesting. Thinking of it as, you're training, it's awareness training for your brain, or it's, those laws where you want a car and then you see the car everywhere. That's a known studied phenomenon. That's not magic. So you can look at it from any way that serves you, but there's no point just going, oh, well, this is it. Find a way around it. Find a way that resonates with you. Find the language that resonates with you. Find the modality of clearing that works for you. If you don't like EFT and you think it's a crock, well, try something else. Everything works works if it's meant to be a pattern interrupter and it's meant to change your behavior. So you just find the angle that sits with your own personal belief system. But you got to do something, because otherwise you're just going to stay the same.
Yeah, I love it. So you mentioned EFT or tapping. Is that what you say is like the number one way to clear these money blocks?
There's a caveat on that because it's worked really well for me. But again, I get people who go, exactly how many times should I tap on each tapping point? Right. And I'm like, I don't care. Just do it.
7.
You know, the universe doesn't care. Exactly. Do 7. You know, for those people, I just go, yeah, do 7 and you do it in this order. But I'm secretly going, just freaking do it. Yeah. Same with people who go, okay, Denise, I'm writing my goals like this, but I don't think it's the right way. Can you tell me how? And I'm just like, just freaking do it. Like the intention. I'm a big believer in placebo, you know, and I've got a friend who's a journalist and she's been doing research at the moment on people who have placebo operations on their knees. They have the exact same result as the people who had the actual operation. And I'm like, imagine in the future you just go to like a fake operating theater. So I'm a big believer in the power of belief and placebos. So just do something. Like, don't sit there and analyze it to death, because that's not going to do anything. You know, just pick something and do it.
And do it with that conviction and like not shooting from the heels or whatever, but go 100% in.
Yeah, and try something. If EFT doesn't work for you, try something else. Who cares? It all works. It's probably all placebo. People who are EFT people are just like going, no, Denise, this is real. And I'm like, I don't understand how it works. I don't understand how any of that works. I know that it does. So try it. And if it doesn't work for you, try something else.
And I love that, because something that I got from you was like, well, yeah, who cares? Just try it, throw everything at it. And I love that, because there are certain things where I'm very much like, well, how many times do you tap? Like, what happened? Like, okay, exactly where? But if you just try it and give it a shot, and I think that your personality with that really resonates with a lot of people, that, you know, you're just so carefree about it. You're like, well, you know what? Try it. If it doesn't work for you, try something else. And to me, that was something that really worked. And I was telling James earlier that when it came to tapping, I didn't know that you didn't make that up. The whole like completely love and accept myself. I thought you made that up, because when I started this whole, I guess, manifesting spiritual journey and all that, you were the first, the Lucky Bitch Boot Camp was the first real opening to that for me. So in my head, that was something you made up. And then everyone else I've talked to that said, I'm like, oh, are you in the boot camp too?
Are you stealing Denise's tapping thing that she totally made up? No, I was living in London. I was in a consultancy and I was kind of a bit miserable. We had this new secretary who came in. She goes, oh, I have to teach you this amazing thing. And she gave me a 12-part DVD series that I still have, that's about to be decluttered to the charity shop. A 12-part DVD series on how to do this thing called emotional freedom technique. And it was at the time too, because now I just teach it with 9 points, but you had to hum happy birthday, you had to roll your eyes one way, roll your eyes the other way, like all this crazy stuff. And I think in the future we're going to look back and it's meaningless ritual in a lot of ways, but it helps in some ways. So that's how I found out about EFT, and it really changed my life from that point. But anything can change your life if you kind of believe it will, and if it's a good pattern interrupter.
That's great. So let me ask you this. What is the craziest thing that you have ever manifested?
Well, in my first book, Lucky Bitch, I tell a story about how I manifested 6 months, all expenses paid travel around the world. Yeah. And that is a funny story. I was getting really fed up with my life. I wasn't in the job I wanted, and I just didn't know what the breakthrough moment was. And I remember saying to the universe, can you just send me something? Like, I want to write a book. I'd been public speaking my whole life. And I was like, but I have nothing to talk about. Like, just send me an experience. Mark and I got married and we went on honeymoon. I remember going, this is pretty cool. Like, send me more of this, universe, like this kind of warmth and, you know, carefree life and all this kind of stuff. And we came back and I put a post-it on my wall and it was like, we're going to go traveling for 6 months around the world. And I thought, I wonder if I could get this for free. Like, maybe I could speak at places or something. You know, I just had it. And within like 6 weeks, a friend texted me. She goes, you have to apply for this job. I think it's kind of your perfect job. And it was for a company, a honeymoon company, who wanted a couple to test out their honeymoons for 6 months, all expenses paid.
Wow.
And you got a salary and you got paid to travel around the world testing honeymoons, basically. And Mark came home and we lived in this crappy little flat where all the furniture kind of went in different directions because the floor was so uneven, and he was in a job and I was just like, okay, so we're going to win this competition and we're going to totally change our lives and I'm going to write a book about it and it's going to be awesome. You know, it wasn't like we just got plucked out of a hat. It was something we kind of had to apply for and go through this application process. But I had no doubt in my mind. And I remember I was coming home from work and I was walking along the train station. It was in London. It was freezing and I was, you know, wearing my crappy coat that Mark called my Hagrid coat because, you know, Hagrid from Harry Potter. It was like this big brown hairy coat. And I walked up and down that platform and I rehearsed the speech, pretty much that I'm giving you now, about how I changed my life, how I used the power of intention and goal setting to change my life because I was so certain we were going to win it. And we went through all the process. It was months of applications and challenges. And I remember we sat there and there was 10 other couples. And just before they announced the winner, I leaned over to Mark and I said, you thank the judges, I'll thank the venue.
Wow.
That's awesome.
There was never a doubt in my mind we were going to win it. So for me, that was something where the stars all aligned in just this most amazing way. And I don't know why or how, but I just knew at that moment, I was like, that whole year, I was just, I'm going to throw everything at my dreams. And I knew that if we didn't win it, I was going traveling anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the competition in itself, it was something that I was looking past. I knew it was I was like, I'm going to write books about this. I'm going to talk about this. I'm changing my life no matter what. And the competition was just kind of, it was a part of it. It got swept up in my enthusiasm for my intention to change my life. So that was kind of the coolest thing, that I've manifested.
When I've heard you tell that story at your London event, the thing that I really loved and admired about that story was when you talked about how you had already given notice to your job or something, or maybe Mark had or something. And I just love that that is just so incredible that you just had so much faith that it was going to happen either way. And even if you didn't win it, you were going to do something similar anyway. So I love that.
I was
just
packed
preparing
and ready to go.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, even last year when we said at Christmas, we said, let's buy a house. We started packing. We're like, let's just pack. We spent all of Christmas packing. This year we decided we wanted to buy a different house. Same thing. We just went, okay, let's start packing. And that's the same thing back in London. I was like, well, let's get ready. And I knew that the other couples, there were 9 other couples in that final. I knew that some of them were sitting there worrying about their jobs, about their mortgages, about their credit cards, about how they were going to do this. I had told my friends, I was like, I can't come to your wedding. I had told my boss, that was an awkward conversation, telling your boss that you're going to win this competition.
So that kind of goes back to the decluttering as well, because you're almost like creating the space for that to happen without a doubt. You know, clearing, you're decluttered your calendar so that it could be filled with this outcome, which I think is great. And then you talk about basically what I'm hearing as I'm interpreting this is that there was a deep level of knowing and expectation. However, you also said, and Phoebe pointed out too, that you said, even if I didn't win, I was going to go traveling. And, you know, that's like having this detachment from the outcome. Can you speak a little bit about that? Like, do you feel that becomes a massive piece when you want to manifest or create something, that it's like, it doesn't define you? Like, if you don't get it, you're a failure or anything?
I think it's a huge, huge, huge part. And it's the hardest bit is that detachment, you know, because you sort of go, well, what did I want? Did I want to win a competition, or did I want to go traveling and have a freedom-based life? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you have to be really honest with yourself. Well, what do I want? And who cares how you get there? And people come to me now because they've heard that story and they go, how do I win more competitions? And I go, well, who cares? Or they go, how do I win this competition and go to New York? And I'm like, well, do you want to go to New York? Just pay for it. Like, that's okay as well. That is another part of manifesting it, is you paying to go and you manifesting it yourself. So yeah, detachment is hugely important. And that was the key for me, not only because you totally got that, James, about I had created a vacuum, I was ready. And part of decluttering is just getting ready to go. Because people say, well, I'll get ready when the money shows up. Yep. And you go, you have to do it the other way around sometimes. You have to show up and you have to just be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll say it's the whole, I'll see it when I believe it versus I believe it, therefore I see it. So you said too that you got to really check in with what do you want? You know, what is it you really want? And I feel that most people go around telling themselves the story, and I'm sure your boot campers and students and subscribers say this, well, I don't really know what I want. I think a lot of people I'm not saying that they don't know what they want, but they walk around saying that they don't. Has that been your experience? And if so, how do you address that or solve that for people?
Well, first of all, sometimes I call total BS on it.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Good.
you do. You know what you want. You just don't want to say it out loud, or you don't think you can get it. And I'm totally a broken record on this, but sometimes doing the decluttering work makes things come to light, because then you realize, oh, well, the only reason I'm not allowing myself to say that I want that is because of all these other reasons. You know, like maybe I really want to be an artist, but I remember my dad telling me that artists don't make money, or creative people don't make money. So decluttering can often help you uncover that. The other thing is that some people are afraid to ask for what they want for really silly reasons. And my mum had a birthday last week, and Willow's my daughter, she's 2, almost 2. She's been watching this Peppa Pig episode where Peppa has a birthday. So she's obsessed with birthdays. And she's got this little fake cake, and she wants to sing happy birthday to everybody. And then we bought my mum a cake, and she was blowing out the candles. Willow helped her, and she did a massive fart when she leaned over to blow out the candles, which is sorry, Willow, not my mum. And my mum said, oh.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, just make that clear. And then mum said something so interesting. We said, make a wish. And then she said, I can't tell you because it won't come true. And I just thought, how interesting is that to be ingrained at such a young age?
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone your wishes or it won't come true. And I said, oh no, mum, we don't believe that in this house. We believe that you talk about your dreams and you talk them into reality.
Yes.
And, you know, so even just that awareness, you realize how much you've told yourself that you can't tell other people your dreams. And so if you can't tell people, often it's even like, well, why even have them? So you don't even want to admit them to yourself just in case they don't come true. So there's so many layers to this, right? Or maybe you've had a dream in the past and you've told someone and they said you couldn't do it or whatever. So there's all this unsafety, I suppose, around having dreams. Or you think, oh God, if I have a dream and then, you know, it comes true, I have to just take whatever the universe gives me. You go, no, you can refine it. You can say, oh, I thought I wanted that, but I want it kind of like this, and send it back, you know. There's a lot wrapped up in that, I think, about people not giving themselves permission to really say what they want.
Yeah, so you encourage people to be a little selfish.
Yeah, totally. I mean, but also it's not set in stone. And this is why people come to me thinking, how do I write goals down the right way? Because they think they've got one shot at it. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, I'm like creating this, you know, concrete thing and I'm carving my dreams into it. So I have to get it perfect. It's like, no, you can change it if you want.
Well,
I love that.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that you are so aware of that, and with Willow growing up, and if I'm not mistaken, are you pregnant again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how do you teach your kids now, or how do you plan to teach them? And, you know, all of this manifesting stuff, dreams, like, are there any other things that you do that now maybe you are more aware of than you were before, or?
Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff that people struggle with comes down to a feeling of not being enough. So I'm not really worried about, you know, like teaching them about budgeting or things like that, or like getting too caught up in like, oh my God, I have to teach them how to tithe, or I have to teach them how to save. So I'm really focusing on that part of having healthy conversations around money, but also having just healthy conversations around, you know what, you're totally enough. And this is, anyone who's a parent could totally understand this, but people who aren't yet, they'll just be like, oh my God, that's so gross. So anytime something happens, like maybe like I'm changing her diaper or something, and she said something like the other day, she goes, oh, stinky. And I went, everyone poops. Like mummy poops, daddy poops. It's kind of normal. And I think so much of our stuff comes from a place of like, there's something wrong with me. Right. I'm not enough. And then that goes into, well, I don't deserve to have a great business. And I don't. So I'm just like, I'm trying to be pretty zen about it, to be honest. And I think I've taught her tapping. So sometimes we sit there and we just say, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And she kind of nods. And I really am I think if that's all I teach her, she'll be fine with money stuff. Oh, yeah. She'll be fine.
She'll inherit mom's business, so she'll be fine. Worst case scenario.
Exactly. In 20 years' time, she'll be the lucky bitch. She'll be good.
I love it. I'm wondering in a moment if you could like walk us through any process or steps that you have to either manifest, whether it's a trip or even just more money or something. But I do have a question that came in from a big fan of yours. She works with me. You might know her, Melissa Berkheimer. And she was dying to know this question, very specific question, which I love too. So we can kind of like ground this a little bit with a specific scenario, which is, what is your best advice for dealing with people in our lives, whether it's our spouses, friends, other family members, who start to judge us or maybe perhaps shame us for kind of stepping into this next level of abundance, doing things like hiring help, outsourcing, and, taking on this, as I like to call it, manifesting magic in your lives. Like, we all have to deal with it, from someone who's kind of a naysayer or an disbeliever.
Declutter them, get rid of them. No. No. You know what? Again, it comes down to you have to work on yourself first, because most of the time the stories that we make up about their reaction are stories. So often people don't even get to the other side of experiencing it because they're so worried that it's going to happen that they don't even take any action. They're so worried, like, oh my God, what am I going to do when I'm wealthy and my kids are going to get kidnapped and my parents won't talk to me. And it's like, just get your first client, like, see how that works out.
Right.
Like, just try it. Just get a client and see if you like it. So often we're worrying about scenarios that aren't even true yet. On the other side of it, yes, that does happen, that when we step into our power, it makes other people feel a little bit unsettled. And the reason why, too, I think when you start to become a little bit more successful in your business, you do want to tell everyone about it. And often you are susceptible to getting business advice from inappropriate sources, as I call it, because you start to want to tell everyone about it, and I remember telling my chiropractor, who was like a 55-year-old guy, about my business. And I remember him going, oh, well, I think you should change the name of your company. And I remember going, oh my God, yeah, maybe you're right. So that's a rite of passage we get to as well, thinking that our business has to be everyone's business. It's okay for you to not to share everything that happens in your life and business. And as you go through that process, just continually work on your own stuff of like, you know what, it's safe for me to trigger other people's money stuff. And it's safe for me, I'm not responsible for other people's money stuff, and just work on your own. It's just a rite of passage that you're going to go through. Like my family now, they don't really know how much I earn. I think if they read my blog, they probably get a bit of an idea, but I'm okay with that now. But I remember when I hit 6 figures the first time, I was so triggered and I didn't realize why. And then I dug around a little bit and I realized that I was suddenly getting close to earning more than my husband and my uncle. And, it wasn't about them. It was about me and my reaction to that and how I felt about that. So that's the only thing we can do. We can't change them. We can inspire them, definitely, but you just have to keep on working on your own stuff of I am enough. It's okay. It's safe for me.
I think that's just such great advice, because whether it translates to, money or, as you say, stepping into your power or anything else, like, I think the bigger lesson is like, you just can't go around, quote unquote, fixing people. It just doesn't work. Sometimes we do that. We're like, there's something we don't like in somebody else. And we say, how do I change this? And how do I do that? And it really does start and end with you yourself. That's the work. That's a lot of what this entire podcast is about. So I love that. So this has been wonderful. I'm wondering if, Denise, if you can take us through a few steps of, we've started to identify some of these money blocks. Maybe we've done a little tapping. We've started to declutter our life, but we say that we've identified something we want, whether it's big or small. Do you have some steps, some action items that we could start doing to get closer to having that in our lives?
For sure. So I teach a 5-step process to manifesting. And when you kind of hear them and go through them, and I've got a free course, which I know you guys have put a link for. What's the link for that one?
Yes. So we'll have it set up at mindyourbusinesspodcast.com/Denise. And that will be in the show notes as well.
Perfect. So I go through that in depth, and I think when you go through it, you realize that, oh my God, when I'm manifesting stuff, sometimes I just do one step and I miss out on others. So the first step is decluttering, which is obviously a hugely important one. And there's so many facets to it, so many different ways you can declutter. The second step is to really get clear on what you want. Like state your goals, be okay with making a stand for what you want. And there's, again, lots of different ways you can do that. Step number 3 is to immerse yourself in the world of possibility. And this kind of sounds this is where the woo-woo stuff comes in, right?
I love it.
This is like, you come at it from every angle. And I remember, thinking of me walking up and down that train platform, reciting that speech. That's one of those things. That's where you have your affirmations written on your walls, and you do your dream boards, and you maybe go visit your goal, you go test drive that car or whatever. This is that stage where you immerse yourself in it. And by the way, at any stage, if stuff comes up for you, so say, for example, I say to people, go and test drive that car that you said you want. And they go, oh, I'm not, the guy's going to think I'm a fraud. Oh, great. You have to go back to step number 1. You got some stuff to declutter around that. That's brilliant. It's like snakes and ladders.
Back to
step number 4 is about taking inspired action. Like actually, apply for stuff, actually get into action, get a client, send out those emails, because the work that you've done up to that stage is going to really help. And again, you'll have stuff to declutter around that for sure. Mm-hmm. And step number 5 is the receiving part. This is the learning how to be detached, actually learning to say yes to the universe. People say that they want stuff, but then they're like, oh, well, no, I can't say yes to that opportunity. I'm not ready. Hey, step number 1, go back to step number 1. It's you've got stuff to declutter there. So that's the 5 steps. And I'm a Virgo. I'm very practical. So I like to kind of give people very practical things they can do in each of those steps. So make sure you go to is it mindyourbusinesspodcast.com/Denise? Is that
correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a little cheat sheet and stuff you can download. And it works for any goal.
What do you say to this? Because I think the biggest thing that comes up if someone's going to go through this process, and which I recommend everybody actually doing, taking the action to do this, time becomes something. So people are like, it's not coming in quick enough, or it hasn't. I need it now. Like, what is the conversation that you have around that topic of time?
Sure. Well, this is why it's so great knowing practical stuff you can do in the meantime, because I remember when I first read The Secret and I was like, okay, like I've written down my goal, like where's my stuff?
Yeah, it's been 24 hours. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And so the reason why I went back and looked at the process for myself with practical stuff, it's like there's always something more you can do. And when someone says, I've tried everything, I go, you've tried nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, let's be real here. You've tried nothing. And I say that to myself all the time too. And I'm like, oh, I really want a new house. And then I'm like, okay, well, what have you done? Like, go back to I do the basics all the time. I download my little cheat sheet and I go, okay, what else can I declutter here? Is it a belief? Do I not believe that I deserve a new house? Is there some physical thing that I can work on? Like, can I start working on a mortgage application? Can I do whatever? There's always something more that you can do. Step number 2, do I need to clarify a little bit about what kind of house I want? Step number 3, can I go and visit some houses that I think are out of my price range to, challenge my perception? I've got, at the moment, my screensaver on my phone is a picture of my dream house. There's so many things you can do. What inspired action can I take here? Can I go and, call more agents? Can I do a letterbox drop for someone? And then the whole receiving part is like saying yes to opportunities, and I'm going to have to say yes to a new house soon. And that's just one example, but you can use that same process for any goal. And you just have to take a really hard look at yourself and just go, well, am I just sitting waiting for this to happen? No, I can do some stuff here. Mm-hmm. I can make some action. I can fill in the time, and something better might come.
Have you felt that some of your yeses have been scary at first? Like saying yes to some of these things, received something from the universe or had an inspired idea. Absolutely. What's the experience of that, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Well, I'll give you another house one because I'm so there right now. But a couple of years ago, Mark and I were living in a really small little apartment and we were looking for a big one. And I said, we need an upgrade. Like, I need a view. I know where my business is going and I feel like I need to upgrade my experience. And we found ourselves in this penthouse apartment and it was totally by accident that we kind of got there, and we were walking around and he was looking at me over this estate agent's head. He was just going, don't even think about it. He was just like, no. And I walked around that apartment and I stood in every room and I tapped and I just went, oh my God, like, even though I don't deserve a house like this, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And so that things like that have been really scary, and saying yes to business stuff. You guys know this all the time. Someone goes, oh, you guys should start a podcast. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's a really good example, actually.
That's the way we were talking about this before the call, is that just launching this podcast, we recorded like 12 episodes and it was a good 2 months before we put the first one out. And I was nervous for the first time in a long time putting something out. And it's been nothing but like extraordinary. The results, the downloads, the feedback has been awesome. But I'm so fascinated by how something can feel scary. Like you can see the inspired action and the next step you want to take. But even doing that can be scary until you actually afterwards, in hindsight, do it. And you're like, oh, it all turned out okay, which is great.
Well, you know what? Business is scary. Yeah. And the things that scare you today won't scare you tomorrow, but spoiler alert, there's always going to be something new to be scary, that's to be scared of. And a mantra that I've used to great effect for years is it's my time and I'm ready for the next step. But when you say that, you have to be so careful, because tomorrow or the next day, an opportunity is going to come and you're going to think, I'm not ready for that. Like, no, go to someone else. I mean, that was for me when I felt a big calling to do money work. And I was like, universe, piss off. It's not, go away. It's not my calling. Go to someone else. And you just have to trust, like, that's okay. It is my time and I am ready for this next step. And, you know, that's okay. That's part of growth. And everyone's scared. And I think when you realize that everyone's freaking scared, except maybe Donald Trump. I don't think he's scared about anything. But, you know, for most normal people, everyone's scared, and why not you?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is fantastic. And this is Denise's 5-step process for manifesting. We'll have the link for you guys. It's mindyourbusinesspodcast.com/Denise. Again, we'll have that link in the show notes. Denise, I want to plug a few more extraordinary things that you have for your audience. First of all, your books. The book I have in front of me is Get Rich, Lucky Bitch, but you also have another one that's just Lucky Bitch. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that one is my first book and it talks about how I won the competition. The second book is about money. And you know what? Same thing happened with you guys on the podcast. I remember doing it. I didn't want to release it for months. And every time someone bought it, I was like, what are you doing? Don't buy this book, please. Yeah. And even my manifesting course, I remember I recorded that in 2012 and it sat on my computer for 3 years. So it's normal, guys, to feel resistance and procrastination, but it's okay. Just take a baby step today.
Right.
I love that. That's great words. But you also have an app in the App Store, don't you?
Oh my God. Can we do a whole episode on the app? Because I've learned so many lessons from creating that app, by the way.
I can only imagine. I know I have it.
Many.
It's a money tracker.
And it wasn't a difficult process, but it was one of those things you have to really be clear on what projects you want to do in your business. But yeah, this money tracking app, and if you guys linked to, I did an article about tracking in general, and I have some free resources there too, like the spreadsheet that I use, a paper tracker, and the link to my money tracking app. And I think it's a very simple thing that anyone can do. Start tracking your money every day, because it's going to bring up stuff. It's going to bring up really interesting stuff for you.
I love it. I downloaded it a couple weeks ago when I started reading the book, and I think it's awesome. I think it does seem like it took a lot of work to put it together. But
well, let me just say, as far as the book, I listened to the audiobook as opposed to actually reading it.
Did Denise record the audio?
Yeah, and it's so awesome. I listened to it from Berlin back here to Laguna Beach the entire way. I don't even know how long that is. It's a lot of hours. And it really just felt like you were kind of in the seat next to me just chatting. And I love that it's not, maybe it is word for word, I don't know, but it just feels like you're really conversational and having, that you are sitting here. I love that. I thought that was, for me, just a great way to kind of learn more about your personality and learn all of these things, because I felt like you were just telling me your story. So I love the audiobook.
Oh, thanks.
So, Denise, real quick, I want to ask one last question before we wrap it up here, which is a question we want to start asking all of our guests, which, especially because we want to tie this all back into business and our journey of entrepreneurship. So, and this might be hard to answer, but I don't think we'll stump you. If you could go back in time to give yourself a piece of advice, what point in your life would you go back and visit, and what advice would you give yourself?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think if I could go back and just teach a tool, it would be EFT. I think that would have really helped me throughout my teenage years, throughout my 20s, all that kind of stuff. But I do remember a time I was 28 and I was at a job that I didn't really love. And I remember being outside with one of my coworkers and saying, I really thought I'd be further along in my life than I am now. Yeah. And I was like, I set a goal to be a millionaire by 30. And I'm like, so not even close. And I was just like, what's wrong with me?
And what would you have said to that?
I would have said, honey, you'll do it by 35. Like, don't freak out too much. It really will, just to kind of just go, hey, look, you need to work on some stuff. That's it. It's not like you're not smart enough to do it. You just need to work on some inner stuff, and it's all good. And honestly, the years between 30 and 35 and I'm 36 now, I mean, were phenomenal. Periods of huge, huge growth for me. And honestly, you can talk about strategy, and I started businesses and I learnt courses and all this kind of crap. really the only difference that I made in myself was kind of just reassurance that I was enough, you know, and just some, you know, all that self-love stuff that people bang on about. For me, that was life-changing, and I gave myself permission to work in my calling, and I gave myself permission. It's like, well, why not me? Why not? If other people are doing it, why not me? That was the only difference really for me from 28 to where I am now. So I think that's what I'd say. Just like, do some work on yourself. It's all good. That's all
Tap it out.
Tap it out.
I love it. Denise, do you have any, I mean, those are beautiful parting words, but do you have any other parting words for our listeners? Maybe even people that are like just getting introduced to this?
Yes. I have this inner belief that today is my lucky day. That's it. You know, you don't wait for Mercury retrograde to be over or for someone else to recognize your talents or, you know, someone else to tap you on the shoulder and go, oh, you should be up there. You know, you should be doing this. You have to just have this inner belief that, you know, the day you do it is your lucky day, and today can be your lucky day. And you make your own luck. So there's like 3 luck related kind of things in there, but it's just going to come down to you and why not you.
I love it.
I love that.
Denise, this has been a pleasure. Listeners, please visit www.mindyourbusinesspodcast.com/Denise. The link will be in the show notes so you can get your hands on the 5-step process for manifesting. Denise, this has been incredible. Thank you so much. Everybody, we'll see you on the next one. Are you frustrated that no matter how hard you hustle, no matter how much you get done in a day, you still feel like you have little results to show for it? Do you feel like you're doing everything right, but there's still something missing? Well, what if there was an easier way? What if your business could be fun, effortless, and profitable? Phoebe and I have put together a free audio MP3 for you, compiling the 77 business affirmations for creating success from the inside out. And we want to give it to you absolutely free. This is your chance to rewire your brain for bigger results in your life and your business. To get instant access absolutely free, simply visit 77affirmations.com. That's the number 77affirmations.com.